Alright, I'm getting ready to set the carb spacer here. You can see it's just comes with 2 gaskets. This one actually even comes with the carb studs. That works out great. Just your regular Mr. Gasket there. Now, before I set that, I'm going to grab the sniper. Here she is. You can see it all nice and pretty and everything. This is the gasket that came with the sniper. Set that there so it's nice. And I want to check it. Just to make sure. With custom stuff, nothing is standard. Everything's a little bit different. Okay, I'll see if I can do this. I can see there that none of my throttle blades there are going to be blocked. So that spacer will work. Always test fit everything when you're doing custom stuff, because even though it's universal, you don't know where it was actually made. You don't know what kind of quality control is going on. It just always works if you make it work like this. Like I said, it fits in there good. It's not going to block any of my throttle blades, and it looks like it'll get pretty good flow through that, so I'm happy with that. So, now, how to install it. Check the camera angle there. Okay, that'll work. Again, that was sealed in the motor. Pulling the rag off. Find a magnetic spot here that light will fit on. Step back up here. I'm going to take one more look around in there. Make sure nothing has fallen in there. No dirt, no grime, no nothing. Everything feels good. The worst thing that can happen is drop a little 1/4 inch nut or bolt down in there right now. But there is absolutely nothing in there. Okay, I know I'm clean. And I already did clean off the gasket surface and all of that. So we'll give it a final wipe here. Just always anal about cleanliness here. And again, feel your fingernail will tell you a whole bunch. That feels really good. What I'm checking for is any tape residue. Usually that blue tape doesn't leave anything substantial. You've seen in my other video how to seal it up with that engine puller. That's why I use the blue tape, not the yellow or the green. I'll tell you the truth, the reason I don't use the green is because that stuff is expensive. Automotive masking tape. Okay, I'm ready for the studs. Okay, I got the camera set back up here. I'm going to show you how I install carburetor studs. Now this applies to the studs. If you're using the bolts just to go straight in, this doesn't apply to that. It's only on the studs. To install the studs, I'd do the double nut. You screw one down like that, and then you screw the other one down on top of it, a little bit like that. And then the bottom one here, this one, let's see if I can do this on the camera. This one, cinch it up tight to this one. And then I got my other wrench here. And just set it like that. On the studs, I'll set this wrench right here. I always put a little bit of Loctite. And when I say a little, I mean a very little. Just a drop on the end, like that. That's all I want on there. Because on this aluminum intake, these go down at about 10-15 pound torque is all. And I don't want them vibrating out. But on the other hand, I want them to be able to come back out when I want them to. So it's just kind of an added security thing. Safety, whatever. And I'll run this down. When you're dealing with a brand new intake, this one's a used one, of course. This process here will go a little smoother and a little easier for you. But you just spin her on down. I'm not going to break the torque wrench out for this. Like I said, 10 pounds is what I'm looking for. For 10 pounds, I'm just going to hold the wrench like this. Closer you get to that, the less torque you're going to have. And I've done it enough that I know where 10 pounds is. And again, this isn't a definite, you got to be right at 10 pounds, not 9.5. It's, you know, it's an acceptable torque. So I do it by feel, like that. Get it back off. Put the wrench on the bottom one. Hold it just like that. And she comes off. You don't want to torque these down hard because you'll split the aluminum. And for the most part, your studs will always be there. Unless you start changing and going radical with stuff. So, that's how I install carburetor studs. Now, I'll put the gasket, the carb spacers, and the sniper on here, and then I'll get a good definite on my hood clearance. Okay, I'll get that. Comes with two gaskets here. Got the bottom one. Goes right on there nice. Spacer goes on there nice. You know, it'll go on either way. And that's a plug. I think it'll look better if I put that around there like that. I forgot to check. Some of these spacers, this one isn't, but some of these spacers are kind of chamfered right here. They're cone shaped in. The ones that are cone shaped, so it makes a nice transition. You want to pay attention to those ones because that's for airflow. And then when you're they're one directional is what I'm saying. So when your carburetor goes on here, and this is all coned in towards your intake, it helps the flow. This one isn't, it's just straight, so this one will go on either way. But we'll drop her down in place just like that, and then, like I said, for the time being, I'll just use that one. And again, just like I was doing with the intake, I'm checking here for clearance issues. I want to see if that gasket is clogging it up. You know, I want that gasket on there nice. And since that's a Mr. Gasket, I'm going to check the Holley one. It seems to be a little better one. Yep, I like this one better. Should have showed the camera there. This one, when I put it on, was actually covering just a smidge on this side. And I seen a lot of adapter on this side. So this one was not set in there right. The one that came with the Holley, it sets right. It feels really good. So, like I said, always test fit first, because this one right here, I would have either had to have trimmed it down a little bit right here, or it would have blocked off a little bit of that feed for it. You know, it wasn't right. That's the best way to just come out and say it. It wasn't right. It was a tad off. So always check fit. We'll slip this shiny pretty thing down on it. I gotta jump up here again. All right. Now I still got good room there to get a good number of threads on them as I torque it down. Oh, here's something I'm seeing. If you buy one of these kits, there's a little something on the back side. I'll see if I can show it here. Try this. Okay, right there. You can see that wire loom that goes back over there and connects is right by that bolt. So I'm going to have to keep that in mind on how to keep that out of the way, keep it from rubbing, keeping all of that stuff from happening. Because, well, that's a potential bad part later on down the road. I don't want nothing rubbing that wire anywhere. I want everything to have good clearance. So little things like that as you're checking this, again, that's why I test fit everything, is good to do now because I can correct it. Ugh. Okay, how to tighten down a carburetor. I didn't even think about it, but that's a pretty important one. You always tighten this side, this side, this side, this side. Do it equally, and don't do your full torque on one, full torque on the other one. You just bring it down equally, like you're changing a tire. There to there, this side to that side, you know, a cross pattern, make an X, and bring them down equally. Another little tip there, I see a lot of people don't talk about that, but that definitely helps. And when you're torquing them down, like I said, this is only 10-15 pounds is all. Don't crank that sucker down. The gaskets do the work on it. You drive them for a little while, about 500 miles, and you get out, the wrench, and yeah, there I go, I'm doing it the wrong way, cross this way. You tighten this one, you tighten this one, you tighten the front one, you tighten the back one on this side again. Do that a couple of times till it breaks in and sets. Then you're done, it's set. Little tips there to help you along the way. Alright, I'm going to get back to this balancing act. Alright, I've run my sequence a couple of times. Just like with the intake, you know. You get a feel, until they're all tight. Because when you tighten this one's going to loosen up, and you know. So you keep running that cross pattern sequence until all of them are about, you know, you'll feel it the same tightness. And then you know it's set. Once it's set, again, this is a garage environment, not a shop environment. So make sure there's nothing down in your throttle blades. You didn't drop a quarter-inch bolt down in there, or you know, you didn't set your rag there, or you know, drop down into your throttle plates. Make sure there's nothing in there. On these it's easy because you can look right down in them. Nothing in there. Work throttle blades a couple of times. Work the throttle. Look, make sure that linkage is all nice and clear, nice and clean, because none of this is stock. The Ford engineers had nothing to do with any of this. So you got to kind of think like they'd have to. Everything's fine. Okay, so I can move on to the next step. I did notice that I'm at the edge of those studs. Those studs could have actually been about a quarter-inch longer, but they'll be all right. They're at the minimum, but they're okay. Okay, so on to the next step. Oh, and again, since this is a garage environment, again, not a clean room, I'll cover that. He doesn't have an air cleaner picked out yet, but I got a couple of what are they called, bug traps, those screen foam filters that are junk. They're made to go down the quarter mile one time, then you change it. Don't put them on your street car, put them on your race car, and they run for one race and then you change them. Anyway, I got a couple of those I'll stick on there. That'll keep any dust and any dirt from going in there until he finds the real one. Okay, that's the reason I keep that bug catcher around, is for when I'm doing stuff like this. Anyway, little tip, and we'll keep a rolling on it.